Hey there, today I'm going to show you what you can do to avoid having your tall cylinders slump. So I'm going to make a tall vase, and while I do, I'm going to point out the things you can do to avoid that slumping. I'll show you how to go from this to this. So let's get started. So I'm using just under 2 kilos of clay here. So I throw down and pat into shape. And now I'm going to center. I suggest using clay that's not too firm and not too soft here. If you do use firm clay, you're going to struggle to center, and that's really not going to help. But if your clay is very soft, well, it's just not going to hold up to the tall form. Okay, so let's speed this up a little. So now I can flatten the clay. I want to flatten it to just a little larger than the diameter of this cylinder that I want to make. Okay, so now I'm pushing down into the center. And then I open out. I'm not going to trim a foot, so I don't want to leave a huge amount of clay in the bottom. I'm ready to start pulling up the walls. So when we say pulling up the walls, it's more like squeezing the clay to bring the walls up. Notice my hands are working together from the bottom to the top. And when you get to the top, remember to compress the rim. It will help keep the top of your cylinder even. Notice my hands moving together, bringing clay upwards by squeezing from the inside and outside. As I get to the top, I can link my hands together for more stability. Notice that I'm using my knuckle. So for larger cylinders, I prefer to use my knuckle. I feel as if I have more stability. I'm keeping the pressure, that is, the pushing from the outside and inside, very even as I come up. And my hands are traveling up the clay very slowly. If you come up too quickly, you'll find you end up with uneven walls. So if you take a closer look, you can see my finger on the inside pushing out and my knuckle pushing the clay back in. Make sure your walls are tapered a little towards the top. If your clay's thinner at the bottom, your walls will collapse. I'm going to straighten the walls now. I'm using a rib, which not only helps create a perfectly straight cylinder, also helps compress the clay. I'm also trying not to use too much water during this process, as I don't want to oversaturate the clay. So now we have a very straight cylinder. I'm going to round in the neck by collaring in. So I'm squeezing the clay very gently. And now I'm going to finish shaping and compressing the rim. And now I'm ready to trim around the base, keeping in mind I'm not going to turn this pot or trim this pot on the wheel. And now I'm ready to wire through, and I'm going to set aside to dry. So I want to dry my pot to leather hard And then I'll show you a very simple treatment for finishing. So I've taken my dried pot, I'm just gently pushing the base inwards, and then I'm going to roll my pot on its bottom rim. And that's all I need to do to finish my vase. Let's see that again. It's pressing the base in and then giving the pot a bit of a roll around the edge. And now I'm ready to bisque, glaze and fire. So to avoid slumping cylinders, here are some points to remember. Make sure that your walls taper towards the top so the base of your walls can support the walls. When you're pulling up the walls, make sure your hands are working together to evenly squeeze the clay. Try and use as little water as possible. As you squeeze, bring your hands up very slowly. This will help avoid unevenness, which can lead to your pot slumping. And keep the top of your cylinder even by compressing the rim. And if you're struggling with large bowls, this video will really help you. As always, thanks for watching.